Warning, the following video review contains an angry old man, adult language, explosions and a terrible toy. Do not try any of the stunts you are about to see at home.
Because you stupid piece of... Somebody is the wrong way to this.
Yeah, fuck this thing. I started collecting Transformers at kind of a weird time. The Power of the Primes trilogy was just coming to an end, the War for Cybertron Siege line was still just a rumor, and Wave 1 of Studio Series was just starting to hit my Walmart shelves. One of my favorite figures growing up was the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen canon Bumblebee. He transformed into a Camaro that hadn't even actually come out at the time, that was just a concept car they were advertising in the movie. And one of the first figures I saw of Studio Series was Studio Series Bumblebee. Based off the 1970s clunker Camaro design, this thing looked awesome. There was finally a Movieverse line that had the guts to go for a more high complexity tactile feel and much more screen accurate transformations that were hitting mainstream store shelves for the first time. But there's just one problem with that. High complexity tactile experiences, screen accuracy, and a Michael Bay transformation scheme? What could possibly go wrong? Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the worst Transformer of all time. This thing's been universally pandered by Studio Series fans as being a figure that can make a grown man cry. This thing is such shit. It's such shit Bolt Matrix smashed his copy with a hammer and summoned Thew Adams to check on his mental health. I can't even begin to describe everything wrong with this transformation. It's pure chaotic agony. This thing took any childhood wonder from the 2009 figure and tore it out of my heart. But before we get into that absolute dumpster fire, let's take a look at the vehicle mode. That can't suck too bad, right? In terms of presentation, Studio Series 49 Bumblebee transforms into a 2009 Camaro. This thing looks like it jumped right off the showroom floor of a dealership. The tiny Chevy logo is painted really well, and the stripes contain the additional outline on them instead of just being one black solid color. The rims of the wheels were supposed to be painted in a gorgeous shade of silver, but this is where the cosmetics start to go to absolute shit. The front right wheel had no paint applied to it, and the right side door is literally missing a layer of paint. I know this because the clear plastic is bleeding right through it. This thing has some of the most poorly applied cosmetics that I've seen on a deluxe. The paint job is a borderline insult to the consumer. It isn't just about the cleanliness of it, even though the figure's a failure even on that front, but this thing barely even has paint on it. You can literally rub the paint off this thing like a freaking rub sign if you didn't break the clear plastic first. The rear end of the car barely has any attention to detail on it, and I know this is kind of a Hasbro thing, but come the on, man. This is supposed to be a photorealistic, screen-accurate luxury line. That's why the thing's only 4.5 inches tall and made of clear plastic. So why do they not even attempt to care about the cosmetics on this thing? Oh, have I mentioned how cheap this thing feels to handle? This is where things become a real nightmare. The entire car is made of clear plastic. By that I mean anything not visible on the front of the robot mode is clear plastic. But by how thin and piss poor this stuff is, you might as well have just made them from gold plastic, because it'd be more likely to hold up over time than this thing is. The thing that sucks about this isn't just the poor quality of the cosmetics. That I could forgive. It's the fact that it's so close to being a good car, but it felt like the cosmetics team didn't even remotely give a shit on this thing. It's literally unfinished. There are multiple areas on this figure where it is literally unfinished. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the Totally Rolling 2021 Deluxe Class figure. Yeah, fuck you. But things get even worse at the transformation part of things. This jumbled, confusing nightmare of the Thing is complete and utter trash. Everything wants to clash into everything. Don't let the stop motion deceive you. The roof of the car fell off 17 times while I was animating this thing. The legs do some cool stuff, but also suck because of how tight and thin the joints are. The upper body is where the real agony of this thing starts though. The shoulders are a convoluted nightmare that don't have any clearance. The torso is a nightmare because of how stuck it gets on the clear plastic accordion hinge that it's attached to. People told me time and time again that I would be able to manage this issue if I put pressure in the right area, but that cracked the clear plastic windshield of the car in half. What you wind up with looks stunning, at least in terms of sculpting. The paint in the vehicle mode might have been bad, but boy oh boy does it ever get worse. For sake, man, the eyes of the head are chipping paint. The chest is chipping paint. You know, when Studio Series figures get packaged in this luxury item masterpiece vibe little foofy ass box, but fail to effectively paint the first thing a buyer sees, that's what starts to get me legitimately pissed off. Who the hell does Hasbro think they're fooling by trying to label this thing as if it's some kind of budget masterpiece when the head and chest are this neglected? The literal only thing you pay attention to in stop motion when a figure transforms is the upper body of the figure. That's why transformation cheating actually works out the logistical problems of skipping steps of transformation. But it's like I can't even cheat making this thing look good. It's like Hasbro wanted this thing to look like shit. They had to put in a deliberate effort for me to nitpick the cosmetics this much, but this is just an embarrassment. Something a commenter on a video recently pointed out is that Hasbro's never really made a good transforming Movieverse Bumblebee figure, and I had to say I don't disagree with him. And I don't understand the logic behind it because Bumblebee is one of the most overmarketed characters of all time. They have this around lunchboxes, school book bags, pencil cases, party balloons, party bags, marketable plushies, useless stomp around dumbass statue things. But they absolutely refuse to make a good figure. And at the end of it, the posability is lackluster enough to the point where I didn't even bother animating with it because it's too painful to move any of the joints on this thing and I'm not masochistic. This figure is not a good experience by any stretch of the imagination. I keep trying to come up with good things to say about it, but I really can't. The transformation has moments of brilliance, but every moment of brilliance in this thing gets covered up under about 25 layers of bullshit. Nothing has room to operate. You can't do anything even slightly out of order or it just gets stuck. The quality of the material is horrible, the paint applications are garbage, the transformation sucks, the articulation's okay at its very best, and it just comes off as forgettable. And that's the problem. I don't want something that turns into a car as absolutely boss-ass Biss energy as a 2009 Camaro seeming forgettable. But fortunately, to alleviate my anguish, I finally have Kingdom Dinobot and I can finally review him. And all it cost me was a top spin and twin twist. I fucking hate myself. Alright fuckers, today I'm gonna teach you how to make clear plastic burgers.